Hi, I'm Grayson Martin, and this is my Let Me Explain That to You speech 2 for public speaking. These are my speaking notes, or my speaking outline, and on here I have my citations, and this is my presentation that I will be clicking through. For this presentation, it's titled Let Me Explain That to You, and for this assignment, we were tasked to take out of all the classes that we've taken in college, to pick our favorite one and talk about it and teach our audience about it and what we gained from it and why it is why we took away what we did from that class. For this assignment, I chose to do nonverbal listening from a nonverbal communications course that I took last semester, because I'm a communications major at the University of Alabama. And this course I felt like I got the most out of, and I got a lot of skills from it that I feel like I still use today, specifically nonverbal listening skills that I think are very important. I think it's interesting because I feel like nonverbal listening skills aren't really talked about that much in communications, but I think personally it's one of the most important skills and one of the skills that's used the most, whether you know it or not, and one of the skills that you can build the most off of, if you choose to research those things. Okay. So the purpose of this speech is to help educate my audience, which is my mom and my grandma, on nonverbal listening skills and the importance of it and how you can use them and when you use them and why you use them. What is nonverbal listening? Nonverbal listening is conveying information without using words, so through your body language, through things like that, to help show engagement and understanding when communicating with somebody, specifically when the person you're communicating with is the person talking, and knowing when it's your time to listen and to let them speak, and ways that you can help show engagement in that. Why is this important? Nonverbal listening is the basis of nonverbal communication. It's one of the most overlooked forms of communication. Nonverbal listening helps build the foundation of many relationships by demonstrating trust, respect, understanding in both personal and professional settings. So, for example, when you're using this in a personal setting, say you're just talking to a friend, or maybe somebody new that you met through friends or wherever you may be, and you ask them a question, and then they are responding to your question and talking about, say, what they do for work. And a way for you to be able to actively show that you are listening when it's their turn to talk is by making eye contact, by nodding your head, or in body language, by opening up to them and showing them that you're engaged and that you're understanding and that you're following in their conversation. And that can be the basis of that relationship and help show engagement and start that general respect and foundation of everything moving forward with that relationship. An example that will be used in a professional setting is, say you're going in for an interview and you walk up with open shoulders and you look them in the eye and you shake their hand, and that starts off the relationship, showing that you're there and you're engaged and you're ready to communicate with them and to hear what all they have to say. There are many different forms of nonverbal communication, and a couple of those for example, these are discussed in an article that was published by Kendra Cherry in January of 2025, and she talks about the 9 different types of nonverbal communication. But the ones that I think are specifically the most important are eye contact, posture, facial expressions, gestures, appearance, and proximity. All of these are things that you do naturally, but you don't realize have a huge effect on the trajectory of your conversation and the relationship that you're building with that person while they're talking. What these skills tell the speaker. These skills, like I said, eye contact, that shows attention and engagement, and it shows that you're following and that you're actively wanting to understand what they're having to say and hear what they have to say. Like I said, posture, it shows openness and it shows confidence. And when you're slouchy, it kind of just shows that you probably don't care, that you don't care about how you're presenting yourself to this person in general. Facial expressions, like nodding your head, smiling, or if you're confused with what they're having to say, you might put your eyebrows down or something like that, so then they can know, okay, this person isn't following me anymore, maybe I should back up. So it's things like that that you can do without interrupting them or without having to say anything at all, which are basic skills that I think a lot of people view that they're more natural, but if you can be aware of them, then you can help use them in your relationships and in your conversations. These skills are talked about by Graham D. Bodie, and this is mentioned in the importance of these skills are mentioned in an article called The Importance of Active Listening, which this was published in June 10th of 2011. These skills being used in personal and professional life, like I had talked about earlier. In an article published by the National Library of Medicine, written by Carrie Tennant and Ashley Long, it states active listening is a fundamental aspect of professional interaction. Nonverbal listening skills is especially important, like I said, in professional settings, in interviews, or in making first impressions in general, because nonverbal listening skills are usually the first interaction that you'll have with a person. Like I said, going up, shaking the person's hand, smiling, making eye contact, nodding, showing your engagement are all great ways to show nonverbal listening. Nonverbal listening, I think, is very overlooked in communications, but by taking this course, it helped teach me a lot, and I got a lot out of it that I still use today, which I think are all very interesting. And it's an interesting skill because it's very buildable if it's something that you're interested in, because you can deep dive into all of those things, and there's different ways that you can enhance them and help create better relationships. Thank you.